So, dear friends, the gospel here is the gospel according to Luke, where we hear the account of Matthew being called, or Levi as he's called in this version of the gospel. So, and it's again, a lot of these things might pass over our heads as very familiar, so we don't notice the details. But the first line is, Jesus noticed a tax collector, Levi by name, so Matthew by name, sitting by the customs house. Why? Because that's where he worked. He sat by the customs house because that's where he took taxes. Now, we've said this a few times here, but it's important to reiterate that tax collectors were hated by Jews because they were taking taxes off Jews and giving them to the Romans. A lot of the Jews back in the day couldn't read or write, so it was very easy to defraud them. And you could easily say to farmer Amos, who arrives in front of you, you could easily say to him, oh, the taxes have gone up this month by 3%, so you actually owe whatever it is, denarii, and he wouldn't know any the better because there weren't publications that were sent out and tax reports that you could file and ways of checking online what the current rate of taxation is for X, Y, or Z. So it was very easy to defraud people, and the tax collectors did it. So they were hated by Jews. So Jesus noticed a tax collector, right, working for the Romans, taking money off the Jews, and he calls him to be one of his disciples. Like that's like, again, if Jesus wanted to be unpopular, that would be a very successful way of doing it. That's not recommendable. If you're aiming to be popular, if you're aiming to keep the Jews on your side, if you're aiming to avoid controversy, this is not the way to do it. But Jesus does it anyway, because Jesus doesn't care about those things. He just cares about the truth. Okay, so Matthew then holds a reception in his honor and brings his friends. Who did he know? Tax collectors. So he invites other tax collectors. Like, these are, the Jews would have considered these people like the scum of the earth, right? Like, we could make historical analogies to, or comparisons to ourselves and maybe our neighbors in an island not so far from us. So those working for those other islanders, wouldn't have been viewed very positively by the Irish back in the day. That's what Jesus did. Okay, so just to kind of give you some historical kind of context of what's going on here. Okay, so Jesus then is sitting and eating with them and conversing, and everything is very normal. Now, not only were tax collectors not liked, they were considered impure because they associated with Romans who were pagans. So if you spoke to a tax collector, you'd have had to wash yourself afterwards, right? So here's Jesus like sitting amongst them and eating. It's all wrong, right? So the scribes and Pharisees are going ballistic because they presumed that by living a life with the strictest of adherence to every single rule, they could be justified before God. So if we get all the rules right, then we're just before God. This was their understanding. So here you have Jesus, and he's associating with people who associate with pagans, and he hasn't washed himself up to the elbow. And you shouldn't be eating with them because you're ritually unclean if you're associating with pagans. So why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? Okay, and Jesus says in reply, it is not the well who need the doctor, but the sick. This gospel is very powerful because, again, Jesus, with this just amazing simplicity, just cuts right to the heart of the matter. I'm here to help those who are in need. I'm here to help those who are far from God. I'm here to bandage the wounded. I'm here to seek and save the lost. I'm here for you. And I'm here for everyone. So I have to go to where they are in order to bring them back, because I am the good shepherd. So there's no point just preaching and teaching in the synagogues or in the temple. I have to go to where people are and bring them back. And this is a role that you and I, as Christians, we continue that. we continue to bring the faith, to bring the Lord, to bring that hope and joy to where we are, so into factories and into staff rooms and into playgrounds and wherever we go, golf courses, beauty salons, wherever you all spend your days. And there, while we're getting our hair done, our shellac gel nails redone or topped up or whatever you do with them, I don't know. While you're getting your nails done, your face tucked, you're evangelizing your face tucker. That's what you have to do. Evangelize your face tucker. Just go out there, and whoever you're working with, whoever you associate with, bring to them the light of the Lord. Go out and seek and save the lost. There's no point evangelizing the church choir. Go out and bring people the light of the Lord. Bring them the hope that only Jesus can give. That's what you and I are sent to do. So how do we do that? We first must be filled with that light. We first must be filled with that light, or we have nothing to give. So Matthew experienced how the Lord sought him out, how the Lord looked for him, and Matthew would eventually die as a martyr for Christ. So he was sought out, he was filled with Christ, and then he went on to live life to the full and ultimately give his life, lay his life down for the Lord whom he loved. And so you and I are sent out to seek and save the lost. And will it cost us something? It might. Maybe our face tucker won't agree with us. But maybe they will. Or maybe they'll start thinking about it afterwards and say, yeah, I met a really nice person today, and they were just so joyful and so peaceful. It just kind of felt nice being with them. And then they said that they were Catholic, that they go to Mass, and that they pray, and that prayer really helps them. Maybe I should look into this whole prayer thing again. And then they might look up a couple of YouTube videos on what is Catholic prayer. And then the process starts. And you have no idea how that seed you planted bore fruit afterwards, because maybe she might move on to another face tucker salon, right? You don't know, but something you've planted might have done something good. And that's how life works. We plant seeds, and then we move on to wherever. Now, it might be that we meet that person repeatedly. Fantastic. But if we're not filled with that light, then we can't give that light. And if the Lord is trying to fill us with that light, but we're still so closed in ourselves, then that light doesn't penetrate the darkness of our hearts. And so we just remain cold and alone and locked in our ice tower. But that's not what the Lord is asking of us. He wants to break through all the darkness and sadness and loss. Seek and save the lost. Fill us with light and send us out to change the face of the earth. So we ask the Lord today to remove any obstacles between our heart and his, that we can be filled with him and that we can witness to him to the ends of the earth. Amen.